Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of what I like to think of as a climbing book club, in which I will be summarizing some climbing books and talking about the main takeaways I get from them. In this video I would like to talk about the recently released book by Dave MacLeod, which is called Moving the Needle: How an Average Climber Can Do the Hardest Route in the World. If you've never heard of Dave MacLeod, well, I'm not exactly sure how you found my video first, but in any case, I would encourage you to just pause my video, go over to his channel, watch a bunch of his videos. Anything I say here, he probably has said already more thoughtfully, more eloquently, so just pause my video and go over there. In any case, Dave is a living legend of our sport. He's one of the most well-rounded climbers out there. He has achieved elite levels of performance across all climbing disciplines, from bouldering and sport to trad climbing, even to ice climbing, mixed climbing, and even has a very hard free solo. Apart from his long and illustrious career as a pro climber, he also holds degrees in exercise physiology and masters in sports science and also in human nutrition. In this book, which is his third one after Make or Break and 9 out of 10 climbers, he talks about his own story from the beginnings, where he starts climbing at Dumbarton Rock a bit like randomly, to then progressing slowly over time, to finally being able to do the hardest trad route in the world at the time, the first to get the grade E11, which is Rhapsody at Dumbarton Rock. I have to say that I really enjoyed reading this book. I liked that it is a hardcover and the quality of the paper as well. It has many cool photos from Dave's past. It's nice to see him with very long hair as well. And I found it also to be quite honest and inspiring personally. And I also found that there was quite a bit of humor in it, which I wasn't necessarily expecting as much. I'm not going to go into details into Dave's life story, since that's what the book is for, and please pick up a copy and read it for yourselves. Instead, I would like to focus on a few actionable takeaways I think we can take from Dave's career so far. The first big takeaway I got from this book is that you have to focus on the fundamentals rather than the small details. And this is a theme which is running through Dave's both other blogs and videos, and also through his previous book, 9 out of 10 climbers. These fundamentals take the form of being consistent above all, of progressing the difficulty of whatever you're doing, either training or hard climbing over time, and of working on other limitations such as fear of falling, for example. And the point is to focus on these fundamentals instead of fixating on small details like how many seconds on and how many seconds off you should do for your repeaters on the hangboard, or the latest power endurance protocol, and so on. Another big point that Dave mentions in the book, and I would like to also note here, is to do something in every session that pushes you out of your comfort zone. And this can take different forms. For example, from working on your fear of falling or your fear of failure in front of your peers, for example, to climbing on a different style that you're not used to, for example. A third important takeaway I wanted to bring up is the importance of rest and recovery, but not only for your body, as we all know well by now, I think, but also for your mind. And for example, Dave mentions a few times how he would spend long periods of time just sitting on his windowsill, looking out at life in Dumbarton, looking out at the rock and just kind of daydreaming there, or the long periods of rest he would spend during his endurance climbing, just sitting there, creating space for his mind to do nothing apart from relax. And he mentions how that helped him actually try harder during his actual efforts. And I think this might even be more important these days, since Dave back then wasn't inundated with a constant stream of social media feeds that bombarded him with information about what other climbers were doing, about different protocols that he could be following, and so on. And a final but important takeaway that Dave also emphasizes in the book is the importance of putting yourself in the right environment for your climbing and removing barriers to achieving your goals. In Dave's case, this took the form of him moving to Dumbarton so that he was within an easy 10-minute walk or something from his project, so he would always be able to go there when the conditions were right at a moment's notice. So if you're an outdoor climber, the best thing you could do for your climbing would be to move to a place where you have easy access to good quality rock. And instead, if you're a comp climber, for example, you might need to seek out some gym which has very high quality route setting specifically for comp climbing, as well as, for example, coaching and so on. A little caveat I wanted to bring up at this point is that Dave consistently calls himself an average climber, and I've seen some pushback on this online, to which Dave replies that he compares himself to other climbers that would train and would be serious about their climbing. I'm sure that you can always find a group to compare yourself to so that you are average. For example, I also compare myself to other people with PhDs in neuroscience or with professors, so I always end up feeling average or below, but that's not always a fair comparison to make, right? And in any case, even if Dave was average back then compared to the serious climbers of his time, he's definitely not the average climber anymore. And what was uncommon about him, and definitely way above average, was his motivation, his drive, and his curiosity about climbing that propelled him to the heights that he got to. So I think in the end it doesn't really matter if he calls himself an average climber. It's just a catchy little subtitle to put in the book. And yeah. Okay, so in summary, here are the takeaways I have from this book. One is to focus on the fundamentals over the details. 2 is to push yourself out of your comfort zone every time you go to climb. 3rd one is the importance of creating space for both your body and your mind to rest and to recover. And finally, it's to craft your environment to suit your goals. If you haven't already, go pick up a copy of Moving the Needle. It's really a great book and I recommend it to anyone. Thanks for watching, and if you have any suggestions for any other books that you would like me to summarize, please let me know in the comments. See you all in the next video.